You're listening to Keeping It 100 with Mel and Bruce, sponsored by the 100 Black Men of Las Vegas. What they see is what they'll be. I'm Mel Tiller, your host. I'm thrilled to be with you, and today we are going to be talking about a subject that is extremely important to our community, a subject that is extremely important to our community nationwide and important to our nation as a whole. Joining me today is Pastor Kelcey West. He is a community leader. He is a local pastor, doctoral student, and a brother of mine. Pastor Kelcey West, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you, my friend. It is such an honor and a pleasure to be with you via this platform. Thank you for not only hosting this show, but truly being my brother, not only within the 100, but outside of the 100. It's an honor to serve our community with you, brother. And I am looking forward to our discussion on this day.
Yes, yes. Now, I often say it's all hands on deck. We are at an inflection point in our nation. I can see, and many individuals can see, us losing American democracy. And in order to prevent that, it's all hands on deck. Now, sometimes when I say that, people think that it's hyperbole. They think that I am exaggerating things. And I say no. The reason I say no is that 400 voter suppression bills have been passed. Affirmative action has been repealed. We saw January 6th, where our nation was attacked. Roe versus Wade has been repealed. I believe that generational damage is being done to our community. I'd like for you to address that, and I'd like for you to tell us why the 400 voter suppression bills that have been passed will hurt and is hurting our community and will do so for generations to come.
Well, listen. Let me just jump in by saying this. When I hear the menu of troubling items that we're going to discuss, the first word that jumps into my mind, my heart, is why. I think we as a people, before we get super deep into political arenas, before we exercise our political degrees, if you will, we just as a people need to stop and ask the question, why? Why are these bills being created? Why is our freedom being tampered with? I think we're hearing the news, we're reading the headlines, but I don't think as a people, we're really stopping and asking why. I don't believe we're asking those whom we have elected to speak for us in those circles. I don't believe we're really asking them why. Why is this happening? Why? Not just one vote. Anytime you taint something, you're already messing. There's some you wouldn't allow me to I couldn't put a sketch mark on the Mona Lisa. One sketch mark, it's too much.
Yes.
So we're not talking one voter suppression bill. We're talking 400.
Across the entire nation. I mean, across the entire nation.
400 voter suppression bills are being enforced. And I don't believe we're asking the question why loud enough. Well, not only why, but let me add a second word to it. Why now? Why now? And then when we look at it from a why and a why now we have to really take time to go back to remember once upon a time, Brother Mel, I can't speak for your household. I remember my grandfather sitting and crying when the presidential election was announced, when Jimmy Carter lost to Ronald Reagan. I remember watching my grandfather. I had never seen him cry before. And I watched the tear fall down his face. And I remember asking him, why are you crying? And he said, because America just changed.
Yes.
And so we're having these moments, but I don't know if young people have access to older people who can explain to them why these bills have a long-term effect.
Talk to us about that. Talk to us about that. Tell us why you believe. Talk to us. Why?
Well, see, watch this. I'm of this mindset. If you're able to pass one, you can pass two, 4, so forth. So right now, if you're able to just enforce 400 laws, who's to say next year that number doesn't double to 800? Yes. Who's to say before we know it, we can blink, because we're constantly being distracted by everything that's going on in the world. We can blink, and before we know it, the way to vote can become so complicated until we have lost our power to vote, and it was never stated as such.
Absolutely.
And that's what's, go ahead, brother.
And young folks, you have to understand something. That has happened before.
Yeah.
We lost the ability to vote. We used to, listen, in this country, Black folks used to have to walk into a polling situation and count jelly beans.
Yeah.
Black folks used to have to go in and take a test.
That's right.
Okay. Black folks used to go in and they would get beaten up if they tried to vote. We've had entire towns burned down. Black towns burned down because Black people dared to try and vote.
Yeah.
Please do.
And that's what's scary. That's what scares me when I look at our current generation. And I'm not going to say that they're not as involved, they're not as articulate as generations before them, but I just know now is, I love your term. I use that at the church, all hands on deck. We need everybody calling a timeout and explaining to the generation that's coming behind us that we need them to really pay attention to how freedom, that's the name of the game right now. Your freedom is being removed. And it's happening, a little over here, a little over here, a little over here. And before you know it, we have been removed from the promised land and we're back in Egypt, because the only thing separating Egypt and promised land is another Red Sea. So when I see things like voter suppression, that's pushing us back into a Red Sea, and it scares me.
Understand that you are not as free as you were 5 years ago.
No,
Understand those freedoms have been taken away from you. One of those freedoms, affirmative action, has been repealed. Talk to us about the generational impact of the repeal of affirmative action.
Yeah, I think when we look at why it was created, how it has benefited us, and what we have done since having it, I wish we had created more institutions, more Fortune 500s, where we really had the final say so on who gets admitted, who gets hired. And so when we're still not the majority, you still need something to just try to level the playing field. Yes. And so without that, that takes us way back. I mean, now we're at the mercy. Now we've given that power to people who have never shown themselves capable of rendering fair mercy across the table. And it scares me. It scares me. It's go ahead.
Yes. I want you to understand something. For those who are listening to us, understand this. Affirmative action did not give Black folks an unfair advantage.
No.
Affirmative action simply allowed us to get into the door.
That's
so
it.
when an elite school like Harvard had to look at affirmative action, okay, they did not look at affirmative action and say, okay, we're going to allow individuals who are not qualified to come through our doors.
That's
right. Because Howard never gave anybody a degree who did not earn it.
That's right.
These elite schools allow people in who deserve to be there and who came in and earned a degree. By canceling affirmative action, we go back to a time when Black folks were simply not allowed entrance.
That's it. So it's that's right. No, I didn't mean to cut you off. Finish that thought, brother.
We were not allowed entrance.
That's right.
As Black folks, we don't want you to give us anything. We are not afraid to walk through the doors of Harvard and compete because we know we have Barack Obamas. We have brilliant Black men, brilliant Black women who are capable of walking through those doors and competing and excelling. Without affirmative action, it gives those institutions a license to simply say, no, you can't come in.
That's right.
No, you cannot participate. We need affirmative action. Now, I know that you've done a lot of work with HBCUs. You've done a lot of work with young high school kids who are about to enter into college. Talk to us about how this one rule, how this one move affects our people from a generational standpoint.
Well, I'll share this with you. I was recently the guest speaker for the Black Student Union at Foothills High School, and so I was there. You know, I'm doing my presentation on the HBCU tour, but I talk higher learning across the board. Young lady stands up. She introduces herself. She goes on to tell me she has a 4.8 GPA and she has already scored a 33 on her ACT. I start clapping. I start letting her know my tour may or may not be what's best for her because her credentials means she could literally go to whatever school she wants to go and compete at. And so when you remove affirmative action, I can't imagine this young lady's how it would affect her to receive rejection letters from Ivy League schools when she clearly has the credentials to be admitted to all of them.
Yes.
And so so I'm nervous about institutions just having that power, regaining that power to just tell our young scholars no for no rhyme or reason. I don't even have to really review your application. I can just stamp no and just push you to the quote unquote HBCU. And that's not to say that there's anything wrong with the HBCU, but if I want to compete at Harvard, I should be given that opportunity. And so I'm nervous about using your word again, our students just not being able to compete. I don't want a free meal. I have money in my pocket. I just want to sit at the counter I want to sit at.
I want access.
That's it. I'm not asking you. I'm not asking you for a free burger. I'm not asking for a free dessert. I have the money in my pocket. But to know we're going backwards to a time where you can literally tell me which counter I can and can't sit at. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not that far removed from the 1960s. I don't know why we act as if the 1960s is the dinosaur age. It was yesterday. It was in our lifetime. I'm born 1971 when Marvin Gaye drops What's Going On. We need to bring that album back. What's going on? That we are blinking, and freedom is not just being tainted, it's being removed. And again, we have to ask the question, why? Why now? Why are you removing affirmative action? What's really behind this? Just explain it to me. How does it really benefit our country? I haven't heard anybody stand and articulate that to me. How does removing affirmative action push us forward? How does it really help us help the democracy that we stand on?
And let's take that a little bit further, because people are not getting this. They're saying, well, okay, we're going to remove affirmative action. So we know that fewer African Americans, fewer Black folks are going to get into these elite colleges. Now let's move to corporate America. When it's time to promote someone to CEO, when it's time to promote someone to president, to vice president, when it's time to move someone up into that executive suite, what are they going to do? They're going to look around and they're going to say, you're not qualified. They're going to look around and they're going to say, I could promote you, or I could promote somebody who graduated from Harvard.
That's right. And so I can watch this by removing affirmative action. I can now create whatever narrative I want in the job description. As long as I follow the job description, you can't sue me for discrimination. Not realizing my job description, just you are already eliminated just by me knowing how to play chess with the job description. Must be a graduate of an Ivy League school, must have this, must have that. And if you don't have access to that, if you don't even have the opportunity to compete for that, that means your chances of promotion have just become slim enough. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our time to wake up. I was in the bank yesterday. True story, brother. I went to Wells Fargo Bank yesterday. I wanted to make this social media post, but time just got away from me. I wanted to share with my brown brothers and sisters. It must feel mighty good to go into a bank and everybody in there looks like you and speaks your language.
Yes.
It must feel mighty good as a business owner, as a future homeowner, at whatever it is, to walk into an establishment and everybody looks like you. They speak your language. And this is why I'm sharing with our people. You got to wake up, because right now, as freedoms are being removed, you remove an affirmative action. That means we're gonna walk in places and see fewer of us in positions of what's the word I want to use? Not authority and power. Decision makers. Yes. Yeah, I'm super nervous.
Yeah, I'm very nervous. Another thing, and I know we're running out of time, and I know you're very busy. You've been so gracious with your time, but we cannot leave here without talking about the impact of January 6th.
Yeah.
What does January 6th say to the world about us as a country? What message does January 6th send to our country and to the world?
Yeah, we're an undisciplined country. That's what it shows the world. We're undisciplined and we're very disrespectful. It also shows that there's different sets of rules. Had that been what America likes to call a riot, I don't believe people would have walked away on January 6th had that been a group of African Americans exercising their right or demonstrating their frustration. I don't believe they would have walked away that day.
No,
I believe we may have seen dogs again, may have seen water hoses. I just don't believe that day would have ended the way it did. I've heard of a few arrests, but I just don't believe Black people would have been able to storm the Capitol. I don't even know if we can really get too loud around the White House, let alone storm. And so I just believe that day really showed the world that it's that we really are a country that has different sets of rules for different people.
Different sets of rules for different people. We also sent a loud clarion sound to anybody with eyes and anybody with ears that violence is acceptable in the United States of America.
That on the highest level.
On the highest level, that if you want a certain political outcome, it is all right, it is okay, it is sanctioned to use violence.
That's right. Which now, I mean, it's just one where, and forgive me for this analogy, you just made me think about my grandmother. The tone was set for my friends when they visited my grandmother's home because she had a room you couldn't go in, you couldn't touch anything. So that just set the tone.
Oh yeah, plastic on the furniture.
Come on.
Plastic on the furniture.
So because she demanded respect for that room, it caused you to respect the rest of the house.
Yeah.
And so again, when we show the world that people can disrespect that room that's supposed to have plastic on it and that's supposed to have a china cabinet, you sending a bad message.
You are sending a message because these people attacked the Capitol of the United States, attacked it, and they stayed there as long as they wanted. They hunted the Speaker of the House. They walked around saying, Nancy. They hunted the Vice President of the United States with a noose.
That's right.
They hunted him and they put it on video. They weren't even trying to help.
No, so watch this. And I want to use this. Let me just take this quick moment to tell our young brothers and sisters, don't get caught up in thinking you're going to get away with storming. Young people, stop storming these stores. I just need to say that. Yes. What others got away with on January 6th, don't you fall for this trap. And so I just needed to share that real quick. Storming that's not the answer. We don't get to storm. Study your history. And so let's go back to January 6th. I have since been to the Capitol. And in standing at the Capitol, I was really just trying to wrap my mind around the fact people were really able to just disrespect that building on the highest levels. I just couldn't believe it. I just took a moment to really try to imagine people really just just rushing into a Capitol, and the armed forces didn't show up. The FBI didn't show up. How does that happen?
Yeah.
How does that happen? If you and I are in DC right now, and you and I make too much noise just around Pennsylvania Avenue, somebody's going to come and apprehend us.
Yes, they are. They are definitely coming. They're coming with intention.
Come on. If I even give the impression I'm thinking about climbing over the gate to take a selfie on the other side of the gate, I'm not going to knock on the White House door. I just want to climb over the gate. I don't think I'm going to be successful, brother.
Yes.
So it's just a bad message that went out, that people are able to get away with that type of violence, that type of disrespect on one of our rooms, quote unquote, in the house that should be off limits.
And I also want you all to think about this. In the United States of America, we have two political parties, Democratic Party and a Republican Party, Progressive Party and a Conservative Party. This next statement is not hyperbole. The Republican Party no longer believes in democracy. The Republican Party, many individuals in the Republican Party no longer believe in the Constitution. Now, if you don't believe me, believe Senator Mitt Romney.
Yes, sir.
He has written a biography that is going to be released soon. And in that book, Republican Senator Mitt Romney says, there are many in my party that no longer believe in the Constitution.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Watch this. I'm just asking those who are listening to this broadcast, I'm encouraging you, do your homework. All hands are on deck, do your homework. Put a book in the hands of the next generation, teach them what you know about politics, encourage them to learn what they need to learn about politics before they vote. And if nothing else, challenge every young person you come in contact with to study what it means to be free. Brother Mel, I'm gonna leave you with this, brother. I know time is short. One of my favorite scenes from the movie Roots, the original version, was
Yes.
when Fiddler dies in the arms of Kunta Kinte. And Kunta Kinte, played by John Amos, Fiddler, played by Louis Gossett Jr. Kunta Kinte is hugging Fiddler, and he's asking him, how does it feel to be free? How does it feel to be free? What's scaring me the most, my brother, is we're going to blink and we're going to be wondering, what does it mean to be free again?
I want you all to understand something. In 2024, in our next election, you have a binary decision. They're going to be talk about a lot of different things.
That's right.
Those things are going to be distractions.
Distractions, baby.
Only distractions. There's only one thing at stake in our next election.
That's right.
It's freedom or not.
Don't be distracted, people. Those who are listening, don't be distracted. I was in a conversation yesterday while watching a little football. Don't be distracted, ladies and gentlemen. Because we have, quote unquote, arrested the person who killed Tupac Shakur on the Las Vegas Strip. Why now? Why 20-some years later? Come on, don't be distracted. We have to play chess with how and why things happen when they happen. So I got to look past that. Got to look around the corner at what I really need to focus on. Ladies and gentlemen, hear what Brother Mel is saying. Don't be distracted. Keep your eyes on our freedom.
Think about this, ladies and gentlemen. Who passed those 400 voter suppression bills? Who overturned affirmative action? Who overturned Roe versus Wade? Who attacked and who stamped January 6th? Who was saying we should let it go? Who was saying don't take anybody to court, just let it go? Who did that, folks? There's only one issue on the ballot. It's American democracy. If you believe in democracy, you're going to vote one way. If you believe in authoritarianism, then you are going to vote another way. It's a binary decision, and we need you to get involved.
That's right. That's right.
We need you to get involved. When this is all said and done, somebody's going to look at you and say, when all of this was happening, what did you do?
That's right. What side of the fence? What side were you standing on? I mean, this is where we use analogies, but it's not checkers, it's chess. When Donald Trump was president, he went right to Supreme Court, right to the Supreme Court. He's appointing judges. In my lifetime, I don't recall that being a major we weren't taught that. We weren't. I missed as a child. Watch this. As a child, it was there, and I missed it. The show Good Times. Michael wanted to grow up to be a Supreme Court judge. We missed it. Now, young brothers and sisters who are listening, we need Supreme Court judges. But in order for you to become a Supreme Court judge, you're going to have to be able to get into a school of higher education to get the credentials. Then we're going to need a president who can appoint you. Y'all see how all of these dots are connecting?
And we need you to do this because this is up to you to do.
That's right.
You have to do this. You have to take responsibility for this. The future is in your hands.
That's right. That's right.
We have ladies and gentlemen, we have a Supreme Court justice now, a billionaire, owns Clarence Thomas's mother's house.
Come on.
A billionaire sent Clarence Thomas's child to college, paid for his college education. Clarence Thomas raised a kid as his son, and a billionaire sent him to college.
Yeah.
Clarence Thomas went to a fundraising event for the Koch brothers. For those of you who don't know the Koch brothers, they raise a lot of money for extreme right-wing causes. Clarence Thomas was there at a fundraiser speaking to bring in money for those causes, and he's sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
He's sitting on the bench. Okay, and we're talking about him, and I'm not saying the rest of them are any better, but clearly these are not non-biased people. Clearly, these people are not sitting on the fence. These people have an ideology, and they are trying to legislate.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we all have to get on board, and we all have to fight this.
That's right. You have
Pastor
to ask
West,
why.
You've been wonderful, great with your time. I'm going to leave you with the last word.
No, listen. Oh, well, thank you for having me today. Last word, we've said it. Ladies and gentlemen, we need you to get involved. We need you to ask questions. We need you not to sit by the wayside. We need you not to say your vote doesn't matter. If your vote did matter, they wouldn't suppress it. If your vote did matter, there would not be 400. It has to matter. You got to think about that. Take a step back. If it did not matter, why am I making it more difficult for you to do it? So, ladies and gentlemen, I need you to please throw your chess pieces away, and I need you to throw your checkerboard away, and I need you to go get a fresh chessboard. If you do not know how to play chess politically, I want you to get involved in our meetings so that people can educate you. Brother Mel, thank you so much for having me on today, brother.
Thank you, Pastor West. As I said, ladies and gentlemen, it's all hands on deck. You've been listening to Keeping It 100 with Mel and Bruce, sponsored by the 100 Black Men of Las Vegas. What they see is what they'll be. I'm your host, Mel Tiller, and that's Keeping It 100.